Hi, I'm Matt from Soul Shifter. Welcome back to my channel. So, do you believe that there is a link between poverty and karma? Wow. Um, I had a very interesting conversation with Justin on Friday night, and we were talking about the beggars, the beggars in our city, and I was bitching and moaning like, oh, these bloody beggars, like, every single robot you can sometimes get four of them at an intersection, all like, and you can see some of them are bullshitting me, and so yeah, that was my contribution to the to the conversation. And Justin was saying, he said, maybe it's their karma to come back as like unemployed, un, homeless people, the people on the absolute skid row. And I think I kind of thought about that, and I said to him, like, that's a very interesting question. Perhaps it is their karma that they have to work through in that particular situation. Um, I, of course, have to stop right here and say that I believe in reincarnation and karma. If you don't believe in those two forces or those two things, then your opinions on this subject are going to be vastly different to mine. But I do believe, and I think I did this a little while ago, I do believe in soul contracts as well. So I do believe that the person who is standing on the side of the road, the poverty stricken people, yes, they either have chosen to do this through a soul contract, and that's hugely controversial. And I go look at my soul contract video, hugely controversial, um, or they are burning off karma that they have accumulated. Now, there's a whole lot of different stuff about karma, a whole lot of different schools of thought about karma. Some people believe that your karma is accumulative from birth, so you carry that karma right through with you in through each incarnation, and you've got to constantly burn it off. I have a slightly different thought about that. I believe that um, the karma that you're working on here in this incarnation can be carried through to the next incarnation. But how I believe it works is, I'm going to give you a very simple example. Let's say that I'm a chain smoker here in this today, okay, in this incarnation, and I also like to drink. All right, not alcoholic, not hectic, but I like my booze. And I know that those two things are really bad for you if they're not done in moderation. Smoking is another story. So in this incarnation, I give up the smoking. I find that in this incarnation, I'm strong enough to give up the smoking. So I continue to drink. Now, when I reincarnate, I won't reincarnate as a smoker because I've dealt with that. Okay. I've dealt with the smoking. So I don't need to learn. There's no more lesson for me to learn there. So in my next incarnation, perhaps I will conquer the booze. Okay. But then there might be something else that I need to, in that incarnation, I need to work on. So I don't believe we have this massive shadow, this massive dark cloud of karma that just moves with us through each incarnation. I believe that each time we incarnate, we are able to work through something so that we do not take that through with us to the next incarnation. Um, so what about poverty? How do we how do we end up where we on the streets? We know how easy it is to end up on the streets. It can happen like that. But do you believe that you now have to learn that the reason you are on the outs in Skid Row and on the streets is that karma from your previous incarnation? Is that karma from your previous life that you perhaps have to learn what it's like to live with nothing? Again, it's a very controversial subject, and it's I tend to find controversial subjects the most interesting because if they really really make me think, and they kind of force me to take a stand. And sometimes when I think about things like this, karma and poverty, and what is linked to karma, it makes me it gives me an idea that I thought to myself that I hadn't thought for myself. I was like thinking something opposite, and suddenly I'm being forced to think about this controversial topic in a different way, listening to other people's input. So often, when it is a controversial subject, people don't shy away from it. Try and like get in, even if you just listen. Try and think about what you're hearing or what you're thinking. Think about what you're thinking. I do believe that karma plays a part in with poverty. I do believe that you are in that situation for a specific reason, and yeah, it's shit. Yeah, it's crap. I've been poor. I grew up very poor, but I've never been impoverished. I've always had a roof over my head and a meal in my tummy. At one stage, my mom and I only had one meal in our tummy, but we had something. I was blessed to have a parent, a mother, who could whip up a meal, even if it was just one meal a day, out of nothing, basically. I used to always call her my kitchen witch because she could literally take dust and make it into a tasty meal. But the idea of poverty, I don't understand it. Well, I understand it, but I can't empathize because I've never lived it. And perhaps it's because I don't need to live it. I've dealt with it in a past life and I don't need to deal with it now. Um, yeah, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think that poverty is linked to karma? Or do you think I'm just talking a lot of hot air and I'm talking crap? And it's got nothing to do with karma. It's just because you made bad life choices or you were born into poverty. And if you're born into poverty, it's very difficult to claw your way out of that dark hole. Trust me. But what do you think? Am I making a point? Have I made you think about it a little bit? Let me know down below. While you're down there, subscribe, share my videos, and click the like. Subscribe. Click the like button. Okay, I'm going to actually just cut this piece. Should I just cut this out? Okay. Go down there. There's bells and things. Just go and click whatever you need to. All right. Okay. I'm Matt from Soul Shifter, and I will see you next Sunday.